You have to basically have these players for the rest of the season. Now, he's obviously lost Rashford. He's now got obviously a left wing back in, so he might think he's slightly better off. But it looked yesterday like Lisandro Martinez might have picked up a bad one when he sort of got stretchered off, and that's obviously an important player for them. He's not been playing brilliantly, but he's a personality in that left channel. So you're absolutely right. It can't keep going on as it is. They have to somehow start to play better, but where's it coming from? Because I have to say at this moment in time, it's a sorry situation, a very sorry situation when you watch United play.
We'll get back to Gary in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as always, if you've got something to say, because there is lots of things to discuss when it comes to Manchester United, especially after that horrific defeat against Crystal Palace. If you've got something to say, please put it in the comments, because I've got something to say and I want to know what you're thinking too. So please, you know where to put it. But Gary's going to be reacting to the Manchester United loss against Crystal Palace. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. But anyway, stick around for after the clip, because the Big D is going to give his thoughts on this calamitous situation that is Manchester United.
Another defeat. That's now 5 home defeats already for Ruben Amorim. He made some curious decisions with the selections, Kobbie Mainoo playing through the middle, leaving the strikers on the bench. I mean, I know you've touched on a lot of this so far already, but every week when you think, okay, well, that's it, bottomed out, it seems to get worse. What's he trying to do there?
I mean, the only thing I can think he's doing is one of two things. Experiment to the point whereby he's just trying to find a solution that works, that he likes in the system that he wants to play. Or he doesn't like the strikers that he's got. I mean, I have to say, when I saw Kobbie Mainoo up front yesterday, I thought Fernandes was going to play as that in that position or something. You know, Garnacho might play up front and Fernandes to the right. When I saw Kobbie Mainoo as a centre forward or dropping in, I thought, it's okay that you'll get control of the game. A little bit of what I've talked about here. You can get decent football and it can con you. It can kid you, this decent football, where you're watching nice passes outside the box up to the final third. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net. It's about getting bodies in the box. It's about getting bodies across defenders and making sure that you're really creating chances. And that's not going to happen that much. Everything has to be perfect with Kobbie Mainoo up front and Garnacho and Ahmad. You've got 3 quite lightweight players, really talented, good players, but everything has to be absolutely perfect. And I'm just thinking about it from a Crystal Palace point of view. If I'm a defender, I'm thinking, I fancy this, can out-muscle these. You know, they're sharp, but they're not rapid, quick. There's no real goal scorers there amongst them. I know they can chip in, and I'm thinking, we've got a chance here. So I'm seeing that team sheet, I'm thinking, we've got a chance. Now, I'm not saying that if they saw Højlund up front, all of a sudden they'd be starting to panic, but they'd be thinking, well, at least they've got a physical presence, they've got a battle. Xerxes, a big lad, and I'm not saying they're brilliant, these players. I just felt that when I saw that team yesterday, I thought if I was Crystal Palace, I'd be fancying it. And I was speaking to Lee Dixon in the truck watching it, and I'd be surprised if Crystal Palace don't score a couple of goals. And I can't see how United are going to score. Where's it going to come from? I think changes are going to have to be made. So yeah, there are some decisions and there are some selection choices that you look at and think, you know, the Casemiro and Eriksen one the other week when we also, I think Xerxes after 30 minutes and he had to change that midfield. I think he brought Mainoo on. There's sometimes when you see a team, it doesn't look right. If it doesn't look right, it quite often isn't right, and it doesn't surprise you. And I thought it would get better when Ruben Amorim came in. I thought that the enthusiasm of him and then the new system, I thought they'd buy into it, the players, and we'd see a bounce. We're seeing the absolute opposite. It's got a lot worse, and that's surprising.
Where does this end? I mean, is it going to be defeat after defeat and a sort of effectively the house gets burned down till the end of the season and then build again? I mean, what?
Well, they've not gone in. I mean, they've bought the left back, which I think that in the system that Amorim wants to play, wing backs are absolutely critical. You have to have energy and quality in those wide areas. You know, wing back is a different position completely to wing and to full back. You have to be good at both. So they've brought the boy Dorgu in, I think, who'll play obviously on that left side. Need that balance. They've obviously got Dalu or Mazraoui playing there, which is not ideal because they're always having to cut back on the right foot. But you're absolutely right. There's going to be a lot more pain, I think, towards the end of the season. And it is going to be damaging because they're obviously going to stick with Ruben Amorim. But the more you lose, the more difficult it is for the manager to convince the players of the idea. The idea that he talked about in the very early days. I will not change my idea. You need the players to buy into that. And if they keep losing with it, and then they keep getting criticised with it, and the spotlight comes on them more, and the fans are leaving unhappy. 75,000 leave, or 72,000 leave yesterday, 3,000 left, absolutely delirious, I'm sure. But 72,000 fans are walking out the stadium having not conceded, not scored a goal. You've lost 2-0 to Palace, and it's that, that feeling of, and that will create you can't keep losing. You just can't. I mean, it will depress the thoughts of the players to a point whereby they'll start to lose faith in the idea, and it'll damage you.
What gives?
Well, it'll
And
damage
at
you for the
what
start of
point?
next. I don't know. He has to do something. And he has
If
to.
he's not going to change.
He said
he won't
that,
change his
and
approach.
we can't change his approach now because he's died in the ditch on it, and rightly so. He said, I think he's lost more games at Manchester United since he's come than he lost in the last 75 at Sporting Lisbon. I think.
Yeah.
I read that stat earlier, which is just absolutely alarming. So he will not be enjoying this. But I think he's got to simplify it a little bit. Whilst he might not like Højlund, he might not think Xerxes great, and might not like other players. He's got to pick the players that he has, stick with them. They're the players that he's been served. He knew that Manchester United were not going to be prolific in the transfer window in January. Everyone knew that when he came in. It was quite clear. I think I asked him in that first interview. I said, you're going to have to basically have these players for the rest of the season. Now, he's obviously lost Rashford. He's now got obviously a left wing back in, so he might think he's slightly better off. But it looked yesterday like Lisandro Martinez might have picked up a bad one when he sort of got stretchered off, and that's obviously an important player for them. He's not been playing brilliantly, but he's a personality in that left channel. So you're absolutely right. It can't keep going on as it is. They have to somehow start to play better, but where's it coming from? Because I have to say at this moment in time, it's a sorry situation, a very sorry situation when you watch United play.
Oh, hey. I mean, just when you think things can't get any worse, it does. I mean, I'm almost numb to Manchester United now. Numb. I have to keep a healthy kind of psychological distance between me and the club, because if I don't, I'll just be lying in bed all day, every day, crying into my pillow. Such is the state of the club. And I just can't help but feel it doesn't need to be like this. And it doesn't. We've got good players. We have. And I think Amorim's actually quite a good manager. It's just these teething problems with this system and the lack of key players in key positions is just creating an imbalance. And oh, goodness me. And we've let arguably our best striker go, even though he was just lazing about. I mean, that's a shame as well. So I can't help but think of that line from The Dark Knight. What is it? It goes, the night is darkest right before the dawn. I think that's what it is, yeah. And that's Harvey Dent that says that. And I'm hoping this is what Manchester United are at the moment. This is where they're at. The night is darkest right before the dawn. But does that mean we're going to get relegated? Oh, goodness me. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a relegation fight for Manchester United. And, I mean, are Ineos going to stick to the guns with Ruben Amorim if that's the case? Because there's no way Manchester United should be in the position where they're at with the players that they've got. They've got Champions League winners in the squad. They've got internationals in the squad. They've got players that have proven that they can score goals, that they can defend. They've got players that have played for other big clubs as well. We've got players at the club who have done well in the Premier League in the past. So, I don't know. A plus point is we've got Dorgu. So we should have now, in theory, unless he gets injured, because we've been unlucky with injuries over the years with these new signings. Hopefully, he'll create a nice balance on that left side. So then Dalot and Mazraoui can concentrate on the right-hand side, and Dorgu can bomb up and down on the left-hand side, and they can both fire in crosses for whoever's going to play up front. But if Kobbie Mainoo is going to be playing up front, he's not going to be headering anything. He's only about 4'2". But yeah, that Crystal Palace match, I wasn't surprised that we got beat. They were just really slick, and they were well put together, and they took the chances and they beat us, and that was that. And we never looked like we were going to score. I mean, there were some moments where we played some decent football, and Gary's right in that clip where... Yeah, he was right in that clip where having Kobbie Mainoo up front alongside Garnacho and alongside Diallo, you know, it worked a little bit in that there was some nice intricate play in the final third. But the problem now is we've got no one to finish any, you know, any kind of opportunities that this intricate play might open up for the team. And Højlund's like, he just hasn't kicked on. Now, I'm not blaming Højlund. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon because I think Højlund's all right. I think there still is a striker there. But he needs help. And I can't help but feel that he needs a wiser head to learn from. Like, I've just read, literally before I press record on this video, that Man United are prioritising an elite forward in the summer. So if we got in a 27-year-old goal machine, we could get a few years out of him, and then he can coach, mentor, set the example for Højlund. Because Højlund is a big brute. He's a big lad, he's fast, and he can finish, but he just needs to learn the timing and sort of, you know, the mental nous of that opportunistic mental nous that strikers need to sniff out a goal and finish it. They need to know where to put themselves and all of that good stuff. And signing someone like, you know, when we should have got Harry Kane, if we sign someone like that, I'm not saying we're going to get Harry Kane necessarily, but if we sign someone who's at the peak of their powers, they'll be able to set the example. And, you know, and doing that would have a knock-on effect, because it's the same thing with Rashford. Rashford seldom had in his career someone, when he was young, seldom had someone to show him how to be a good pro and all of that good stuff. I mean, he had some people like earlier on, very briefly, but they didn't stay that long. Zlatan wasn't there long, and Rooney was on the back end, so... And then, you know, he had some bad influences after that. So, but I'm not going to get into that. But if we signed an elite centre-forward in the summer, I don't know who, then I think that'll benefit Højlund moving forward, because Højlund is the long-term future number 9 for Manchester United, I feel. Hopefully he realises that potential. And it's really weird because, like, we need to score goals. And Anthony has just gone to Real Betis, and on his debut he gets man of the match, and he was directly involved in one of their goals. So what's going on there? I mean, is the problem Manchester United? Because if Marcus Rashford goes to Aston Villa and bags 15 goals in the next 6 months, I mean, it's going to look bad at United. But who could we sign? Because that's the issue. Because if we're just going to keep on getting beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten every week, who's going to want to come? I mean, names off the top of my head. There's Osimhen. It looks like he could be available. I think he's on loan at Galatasaray, I think, from Napoli, and he wants out of Napoli. So he's an option. But is he going to come with baggage? Is he too temperamental? Is he going to buy into the Amorim system? Because Amorim's proven that he doesn't put up with any nonsense. Doesn't matter who you are. And he seems to want to cut off his nose to spite his face. So is he going to come in for 4 games, score a couple of goals, and then spit the dummy out? I don't know. I like Vlahovic at Juventus. He seems like a nasty player with personality. But is he going to want to leave Juventus? And I personally think he could suit the Premier League, really. He's like a quick Zlatan, he reminds me of. What we wouldn't give for a prime Zlatan Ibrahimovic in this team. But who else is there that we could get? Oh, there's Gyökeres. Yeah, I suppose we could get him because he's worked with Ruben Amorim. So he knows his methods. He knows how to play the game, the Amorim ball. So we could get him. And even if we were rubbish, which we are, in the summer, if we just escape relegation, he still might want to work with Amorim again because it's Amorim's system that's put him on the map. But again, the thing is with Gyökeres, he's doing it in the Portuguese league. So is he going to be able to make the step up? Because I remember Memphis Depay. He was smashing it in the Dutch league, which is a comparable league, really, to the Portuguese league. He was smashing it. We signed him at Man United and he was rubbish. And the same with Dirk Kuyt as well. When he went to Liverpool, he was smashing it in the Dutch league. And he goes to Liverpool and he ends up being a squad player, plays in midfield. So there's always that chance. But then again, for every Depay and Kuyt, there's a Van Nistelrooy. And what we wouldn't give for a prime Van Nistelrooy in this team. So you never know. You never know. So, I don't know. It's just looking weird at United. I see flashes of us playing well. But if we're missing key players that makes this Amorim ball tick, like the wing backs, for instance, which we've completed now, fair enough, and a nice pressing forward in the number 9 position, then we're always going to struggle. I mean, we've actually only got one number 9, and that's Rasmus Højlund. I say give that Obi Martin a go. Give him a go. Might as well. He can't do any worse than the players that are playing now. Give him 10 minutes in the next match. See how he gets on. What is he, 17? I mean, he's been smashing in the youths. Give him a run. Why not? Oh, goodness me. I don't know what's going on with United at the moment. Maybe yous know. What do you guys think? Thoughts in the comments, please. Who would you like to see Manchester United sign in the summer? If we're going to prioritise a big, flashy, sexy number 9, who would you like to play for Manchester United? Realistically, you can't just say go out and buy Lewandowski or someone, or Harry Kane or Erling Haaland. Who would you realistically like to see Manchester United sign in the summer that we could afford? So I'm assuming they're going to spend 100 million on him, especially if they're cutting costs everywhere and they're saving all their pennies by getting Antony and Rashford off the books and hopefully getting rid of Casemiro in the summer as well, because they'll be saving 300 grand a week there. Yeah, so that's something to think about. Martinez, losing him, he's a blow. He suits that 3-4-3. I mean, the whole team's been rubbish, but I think he's played all right. I've seen some nice football from him over the past few weeks, from time to time. He played well against the Scousers, too. But yeah, I'm kind of glad we didn't get Tell from Bayern Munich, and the reasons why we didn't get him are because they wanted too much for the initial loan, and it was too much of a chance on an unknown quantity, shall we say. Can't speak today. And Manchester United felt that if they did pay that, and they did develop him, and he did score goals, then they'd only be developing a player for Bayern Munich to take advantage of, who they then could sell. They would get the benefit from him. And he's only 19, and we don't need another young striker as well. We need the finished article up front now. It's all well and good buying all these youth players and stuff, but we need players who are just about ready to burst into their prime. That's what we need now, because we need to score goals. And Gary Neville's right in that clip. You know, it's all well and good doing all this fancy tippy-tappy football and all of that, but at the end of the day, the only stat that counts is the scoreline. That's it. Manchester United need to get back to just putting the ball in the back of the net. And how they do that, I don't know. That's for Ruben Amorim to figure out. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I'm delirious at the situation with Manchester United. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to suggest. I don't know what else to do except vent my musings to you, my viewers. Because of that, I appreciate you. And because of that, I want you to vent to me. If you think I'm talking nonsense, please put it in the comments. I don't mind. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But if you've come this far in the video, you're clearly interested in what I've got to say. And because of that, I am more than willing to see what you've got to say. So please, thoughts in the comments. Where do Manchester United go from here? What do you think is going to happen for the second half of the season with Manchester United? And 3, who do you think Manchester United should sign in the summer? Big name number 9. Who's it going to be? Who would you like it to be? I want to know your thoughts, because I can only think of a few people. Maybe you can suggest people that I haven't thought about. So please, put those suggestions in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.